Good evening, brothers and sisters. Grand risings to you. This is War Smith bringing you the real voice of Military City, USA, and Black U.S.A., the Black News Network. We don't own the rights to the music that you hear, but we do own the rights to what we say. Today is a somber day and a beautiful day in America, especially here in the city of San Antonio, Texas. We want to bring you some skill sets and some knowledge that's available for you. A lot of things are happening out here in America, and it's about us time to get with it. First of all, I want to say that Brittany Griner is a lucky individual to be released back to the United States of America. And I want to say thank you for whomever blessed her with the ability to get back to this country. Thank you for Brittany Griner's return. However, there are others who have not been so lucky. There's another individual still waiting on a release who's been over there several years. We hope that something happens to change what's going on in his situation. We must reclaim our nationality. And right now it's almost like it's a sin for you to say that you want to be who you really are in America. Now we label ourselves as Black. We label ourselves as African American. We label ourselves as several different things here in this country. And in reality, none of those labels are what we really are. Those are the labels that were given to us. We were given the status of being a Black person. We were given the status of being a Negro. We were given the status of being an African American. And sometimes it's almost questionable if you can stand up in front of an audience of your peers and say, I am a Black man, or I am an African American man in America. Because the first question is, how can you validate that you are what you say you are? Now, I want to be perfectly clear when I'm on here talking about these kind of things, because I'm not here trying to promote anger, hate, bias, bigotry, any of those issues. All I'm trying to do is to bring awareness to a culture of people who have lost themselves in the strive and the midst of what's actually happening here in a country that's new to us, as well as millions of other people that may not be within our ears. We have lost our identity, and all I would like to see America do is to help us regain our identity as a nationality. We are not necessarily Black people, and white people are not necessarily white people. They're from certain tribes, they're from certain descendants, they're from a certain nationality of people that makes them part of a bigger being. Right now, if you say I'm a Black American, we are not attached to anything bigger than being a Black American. If you say you're an African American, you're insinuating Africa, but you're not attached to Africa. Now, let's say an African move over here from Africa, of course, they're an African American once they get their citizenship. But you being born here, being given the label of Negro, being given the label of colored, being given the label of Black, being given the label of African American, does none of those terms affiliate you with your nationality. And there's no shame in this plight or this trial and tribulation for us to get to that level of having a nationality. Nothing is wrong with you being somebody with a nationality. It seems to me that it's almost like you having a last name that comes from your family, and you're ashamed to let people know that that's your last name. Or you're ashamed to tell people where your heritage lies. I mean, people will have the audacity, even my people have the audacity to say, get over it, it's a done deal, you're no longer relevant, this topic is not relevant, it's not worth fussing about, it's not worth reiterating, it's not worth talking about, it's not even worth having a general conversation about, because it's not real. It's just wasting black people time. Catchphrase, black people. Now again, here we are giving ourselves the title of black people. Now, and even the network is called the Black News Network, because this is what we are so used to us being called in our lives. I mean, I grew up being African American one week, next week I'm black. And if I'm filling out an application for a job or something for whatever the case may be, they give you a very specific choice. That very specific choice is black or African American or non-Hispanic. Which one is it? And you pick one because you don't see the one that you really want to affiliate with, so you just arbitrarily pick one. And now here we go to the census report. Because you picked this one, now you're part of a group that does not belong to a larger group. Now, just because you're a United States citizen, that still doesn't give you a nationality. You are not a nationalist from a origin country. In other words, I say this every week almost, Chinese, China, Japanese, Japan, Korean, Korea, and so on and so on. Black, what? We don't have that connection. And that's exactly what we need to establish here in America. Now, if you think that there were no black people in America when, all right, here we go again, Columbus discovered America, see, and that's what they embedded in our thought. So if you ask a 10-year-old kid today, who discovered America, what do you think he's going to say? He's going to say Columbus, because that is the rhetoric that they have trained us to believe. I mean, we went through 12 years of indoctrination to make us understand the culture of America based on the winners of the victors. The victors dictated what we were to learn in our elementary schools, and we had no choice but to learn it, or we would be labeled slow or retarded or deaf and dumb, and we would be held back, or we would be put in special education classes and not given the same doctrine of training. So therefore, they separated the ones who refused to take this nonsense as fact and put you in special education, and then the ones who absorbed it and excelled at it and went through the system, just bam, bam, bam. I'm an A student all the way elementary school. I'm an A student all the way high school. I'm going to college because I got a free scholarship with this university, with that university. That's the kind of stuff they want us to believe. That's our journey. That is our journey in life. But if your journey was started out in the wrong direction, in other words, you moonwalking your journey, you're going backwards instead of forward in your journey. But you're getting there now, you're making time, you're covering ground, you're making distance, but you're going backwards. You're not learning, you're forgetting more about where you came from than where you're going. You have to learn who you are in order for you to move forward. We are not going to move forward as a people when we don't know who the hell we are. We gotta learn who we are. And that is all my objective is with the Black News Network, is to bring black people back to the center and the core of our learning and our being, where we can learn how to subscribe ourselves in a better light in this world. Because if we never ever get to that point where we are in due bounds of mankind, then we will never ever get to the promised land the way we're supposed to be. How can you expect to go to heaven when you don't even know if you're a human or not? If you don't know if you're a full human or not? You've never been classified as a human. Our Constitution even dictated that you were not a human. You were never considered, and I'm speaking to black people, you were never considered a human in the building of the United States of America. You were bamboozled, you were manipulated, you were used to make this country grow, and you did it. You've been there from day one. You fought against the British in the Revolutionary War. You fought against the South in the Civil War, and you also fought against the North in the Civil War. You ain't never really had a dog in the fight, but you were in the fight because you were the dog. You never fit in any of these things, but yet you took the lead on every one of these things. We all know who Chris Atticus was. We know how he died, at least how history tells us he died. But nobody tells you that Christopher Atticus died, and the Revolutionary War being the first person to step up front and take a bullet from the British. Nobody want to tell you that. But that's all they tell you about that man. There's a whole history about him when it comes to Prince Hall Masons and when it comes to why he was the first one to step up and be shot in this Revolutionary War. We got to reclaim our nationality, my people. You know, slavery existed from 1779 till 1865. We were given the name Negroes, niggers, coloreds, blacks, Ethiopians, and none of those names are an official nationality. They are all given names by our oppressors. And we were taught from the end of slavery in 1865 till present who we are. How can you be taught who you are by your oppressor? He can only teach you who you are from his perspective. And he is going to teach you from his perspective based on his perspective of what he has learned. And he has learned that you are a black, you are a Negro, you used to be a slave, you are subservient, you can never be equal to the white person. Why do you think our stratification level is so beneath the stratification level of the white people? Right now, the average black male in America probably lives on $45,000 a year. The average white male lives on $125,000 a year with the same status. But black people have so long taken the dookie end of the stick that it's unreal. We have always settled for the less because we've always just wanted to be part of America and to be part of the United States and to be a good citizen and to gain our way and pay our way and earn our living and settle the American dream just like everybody else. But the fact of it is, we are not like everybody else. We are a totally different people. We cannot be like everybody else. We'll never be like everybody else. We're the only race in this country that have supported white America through thick and thin, through up and down, through long and short, through tall and everything. We've been there. We've been there for every single thing, and we are still there, operating in the biggest service capitalistic society in America, in the whole world. Don't let me start sounding like Herschel Walker, who just got his ass handed to him down in Georgia. But think about it this way, Herschel Walker almost won the damn race. And if he had won, then you think that senator or that representative would have said, well, I'm going to be an independent now? Things so change when the rabbit got the gun, you know. They change. They always change when the rabbit got the gun. We are the descendants of the Moabites. Now, if you are not familiar who the Moabites are, just do a little research and just research who the Moabites are and know that you're part of the 12 tribes of Judah. You are those people. And it ain't because you wanted to be there, because you will yourself to be there. It's because you have no choice but to be there. You're who you are because there's no choice of the matter. You were made that way. God made you that way. Allah made you that way. You just have been denied the truth for so long, you don't really know who you are. Learn thyself. Know who you are. Know your history. And the only way you're going to learn these things is to research. Read. Don't believe all the hype that people are telling you every time they come to you trying to tell you something. Now, you think all this stuff from January 6th is over? No, it's not. They're still going through the January 6th committee. Donald Trump is still digging deeper holes for himself. QAnon is still acting up in Germany with ties of other organizations here in America. People are getting sentences, but somebody else stepped up to get on. You know, we're only as strong as our weakest link, because some of us think because we got hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars that we've made it, that we are no longer fitting into that damn Negro category, that black category, that color category. We'll drop down into the hood once a year, down for some type of event to say, oh yeah, we still hooked to the culture, just to show that we still got affiliations. But we don't. We don't have affiliations, because that one time you go down there and drop $100 or $200 on a ticket and a donation does not constitute what our black people need in our country. We need you to not think that you're above the rest of us. All of us to be able to talk to the corporate executive as well as talk to that black man sitting on the corner down there with a sign saying, we'll work for food. You should be able to relate to him just like you relate to anybody else, because if America had his way, you'd be sitting right there with him. You wouldn't be holding on to them hundreds of thousands of dollars that you don't want to support other organizations with that are trying to do something to help our people. Our people have a right to grow. And until we come down off of our pedestals and our high horses and understand that America is where we're supposed to be, and this is where we live, and if you don't like it, you can leave. I've heard people say that. Ain't no need for us to leave. This is our home, just like it is yours. Just because I'm not happy with the way it is here, doesn't mean I need to leave. It means that some things need to change. Some things need to change to give me the same respect on every level as it gives anybody else. And if it's not ready to do that, that's a problem. Have you ever noticed how nowadays you see the red kettles out at Walmart? And I don't know if H-E-B does it, but I definitely know Walmart does it. You ever wonder how much money they raise doing this? Over the 1 month in a year, they raise over $1 billion. Taking your change. And have you ever noticed how every time you go to the cash register now and spend your money, they want to ask you if you want to donate your change to this society, to that society? Have you ever noticed how when you turn the TV on, what you see is the SPCA and all these other people begging for your $19 a month, just 65 cents a day, to make sure a dog can have a happy life? But nobody thinks about making sure that homeless man got a happy life. Nobody makes sure that that man down there fighting cancer with nowhere to stay, getting evicted from his house, and his kids living in the car with him. Nobody want to make sure he got a happy life. You just walk past these people and look at them like, oh, you done effed up. You didn't make it, did you? Ha, I got mine. I'm keeping it moving. You got to stop sometime and watch what's happening. And putting your 50 cent in that red kettle at Walmart ain't about D-O-D-O. You ain't doing nothing for the cause. You ain't helping nobody, but you're helping them executives at the top of the Red Cross or Habitat or whoever get rich. You know, every time they show you something, they want to show you the bottom pits of any culture, especially in Africa. Why is it that they always show you the worst of Africa, but they always telling you that they're sending the Mercy ship over there, they're sending the Red Cross over there, they're sending Oprah Winfrey over there to build this, to build that. They're sending all these people over to Africa to do this for the African people. But at the same time, they're taking all the gold out of Africa. They're taking all the diamonds out of Africa. They're taking all that other stuff that they put in cell phones out of Africa. They're doing everything they can to pull all these commodities out of Africa. But nobody's saying that Africa is the richest continent on the planet. But nobody's saying that American dollar is 5,000 times worth more than the African dollar. Because you painted Africa like it's a desolate place. Africa got more money than America got. Africa been around for thousands of years. America been around for hundreds of years. So let's not get it twisted. He who controls the media, he who controls the narrative, controls the outcome. And that's what's happening here. America controls the narrative and they control the outcome. We need to connect ourselves with black people in order to feel better. But some of us have lost it. We're connecting ourselves with white people to think that we can feel better about ourselves. You think because you marry white or because you hang around with white people, because all your friends are white, that elevates you a notch, but yet you become the butt of the joke and people want to say jokes about you and say things about you, and you deal with it. I mean, you just go through all these different things in life where you have to overcome, improvise, and adapt to stay ahead of the curve because it never stops. Did you know that Dr. Martin Luther King was killed at 39 years old? Did you know that Medgar Evers was killed at 39 years old? Did you know that Malcolm X was also killed at 39 years old? Now, why is it all our leaders got killed at 39 years old? It's a divine order. There's a new thing coming out by about Al Sharpton. Now, one thing I'll say about Al Sharpton, he's put his time in, he's done the work, he put his name out there, he put his life out there, and he's been in the crosshairs of a lot of people, but he's made it. He made it through. Now he's a commentator on CNBC. So let's get this man his just due. He's got a book coming out, and he's got a documentary coming out. We were talking about the east side of San Antonio and the HEB. It's time for that HEB to be blown down to the ground. And that lot across the street from the HEB with all that stores, those stores are really not serving the community the way they should be. Those stores, that entire line, well, maybe with the exception of O'Reilly's Auto Part, should be torn down and use that parking lot and the existing HEB to build a new HEB. Now, you can build a bridge across Houston Street. That's easy. Put an overpass over there, put all your fruits and vegetables on one side, put all your other hard commodities on the other side. You can live with a brand new HEB on the east side. If San Antonio really wanted to take the east side up another notch, start with the most money-making entity on the east side, which is HEB. Kill that HEB, put a new one over there. Build, tear that whole row of shit down. You got what? thing where you rent to own, rent a center. You got a hair beauty product store. You got a Dollar General. Ain't none of that shit adding to nothing. Get rid of it. Put a new shopping center over there. Put a new HEB there and make it part of the one that's existing. Change the dynamics. Make it a super HEB on the east side. I guarantee you will improve that entire community over there. And remember, this is December 11th, 2022 on the Black News Network. You heard the request for the east side HEB. You also take a ride down New Braunfels Street. They're doing that sewage thing that it should have been done back in the 70s, but it's getting done now, and the road's been messed up for months now. But as soon as you approach that bridge, getting ready to go across the train tracks, look up at that sign. That sign's been up there for 14 years. 14 years. I've went through 3 city council people asking them to do something about that sign. That sign hadn't been changed yet. And it's a pair of faded hands that was put over there in the 1990s, and it's still there. It's probably older than 14 years. But that sign needs to be changed. There's so many things. If you ride down Houston Street and you approach Walters, heading towards the country, heading outside of San Antonio North, I think that is, you're going to find that there's a big old ass pothole right there on the corner of Houston Street and Walters that'll take your front axle off. If you hit it, it's about 3 inches deep. And now, about a year or two ago, they came through there repaving the street with something thinner than a damn dime. And then they built up around that manhole cover. So you got the 3 feet drop or the 3-inch drop. And nobody took the time to raise the manhole covers. Maybe that was on a 5-year later project. These are just things that I've noticed on the east side that nobody takes time to try and get corrected. Then if you look behind Monumental and Houston Street, you see all these brand new tennis courts that the rest of the city don't know about. The rest of the east side don't know about because the east side ain't the one using it. They're busting people out to that facility as far as Brackenridge, bringing them in here to play tennis, and 90% of the people that they're busting in here to play tennis are white. And they come here on a school outing, and the only thing they do is get off the bus, go into that little facility, play tennis, get back on the bus, and get the hell off the east side. Why is it that they built these damn tennis courts in the heart of the damn east side when black people don't really play tennis? You don't see black people out there every day clogging up Oak Field waiting, I got next. You don't see none of that. And you don't see it because it ain't something that black people want to do every day. So why did they put the tennis courts on the black side of town? Your question's good as mine. Now, a man is a man is a man. Now, a man must do 3 things. He must be a man. He must know how to be a man. And he must do man things. A woman can raise a boy, but it takes a dad to raise a man. Because a man is still that guy who believes in chivalry. He believes that he should open the car door for a woman and let her get in and then make sure her dress is not caught in the door. A man should hold the door of a building, a public building, if a female's coming in, let them in. And whether they say thank you or not is not irrelevant. It's irrelevant because it doesn't matter whether they thank you or not. A man should walk on the outside of the sidewalk when you're walking down the street with a female. There's certain little bitty things that a man should do when with a woman. Now, how do you transcribe the things that a man does into the things that a wannabe man does? Or how do you transcribe the things that a woman does into the things that a wannabe woman does? It's a slippery slope when you're trying to balance what each of these entities do. So Why was it such? Why is now? I guess now you gotta be known of what sexual orientation you are. But you know, people have been homosexuals all through life, and everybody in the world don't have to know that. Everybody don't have to in the world don't have to know what's your sexual preference. That's your business. But nowadays it's public business. Even the abortion rights came back up. All this stuff is resurfacing, and it's causing America to go back over all this stuff that should have been settled already. But we're doing it. Russia just banned being gay, by the way. So if you caught in a gay relationship in Russia, you're subject to going to jail. I'm sorry to say that, but that's what they've done. Nancy Pelosi is supposed to be retired. Hakeem Jeffries is taking her place, and I think that's a good thing. But in America, as Black people, I really would not want to say that we have financed our own oppression. We have put the money out there to bring our own selves down. And I say that because we go and spend all this money at Walmart, we spend all this money at Kroger's, we spend all this money at HEB, and all these different places we go spend our money. We eat out 3-4 times a week. We buy all this expensive food, and yet we wonder why we're broke, or we wonder why society treats us in such a way. Because they know we are the money. Black people contribute anywhere from $20 to $100 trillion a year to the American economy. That's a lot of money. A lot of damn money. If we could all just decide on one thing together as a people, and that's where I think that's where the problem starts. We can't decide on one thing as a people, or even half of us decide on one thing as a people, or even a third of us decide as one thing as a people and do it. In other words, look how many people voted for Herschel Walker. 1 point such and such million. And like I say, he almost won. And he didn't win because people with more ethical values voted for Warnock, and he won in the state of Georgia. So why is it that we have to not pick something and stick with it? We cannot be ourselves in America. We have to be what America wants us to be, or we'll be ostracized. We'll be placed out. We'll be placed out. The CIA is considered a hero in the Black Panther movie. Did you see how the white guy, there was only one guy in the whole Black Panther movie, did you notice? And he was flying a jet and he saved the world because he didn't let the technology of the black people get out. And then in Black Panther 2, you see how the one, the Puerto Rican dude or the Mexican dude killed Angela Bassett in the movie. And then the same guy that killed Angela Bassett befriended Angela Bassett's guards and daughter. And then he goes back to his own side of town, to the Mexican side of town. He talks to his Mexican wife, and she says, why are you befriending that black woman? And the man told her it's okay because she trusts me now. And that brings me to this. We are the most trusting race. We're the only race in the country, in the world, where you can see white people heading our companies. You can see Asians heading our company. You'll never see a black person heading an Asian company. You'll never see a black person heading a Fortune 500 company here in America that ain't their own. But yet we're so quick to put a white person in our midst and allow them to ascend to the top ranks of our organizations. And we think that's a good thing because now we got white representation with us where we may be able to get some more funding from somebody because we got some white folks in here. But see, that's what we have a bad habit of doing, is selling ourselves short and saying that the only way we're going to survive is to put the white person out front. Look at Tony G. All the people in the kitchen are black. Then you got you probably got a couple of black waitresses out there, but most of them are Mexican and white. They don't put the black people out there. You start out in the kitchen. That's just some of the same things that I've talked about. There was a lady murdered by the police. Her name is Jefferson, Athena Jefferson. She was murdered by the police on a wellness check. He didn't even acknowledge himself as a police. He just opened the damn door and started shooting through the window, and he killed Athena Jefferson. Now the police is being charged, and he's going to jail for murder. That's pretty sad, but police ought to start to get the picture that they can no longer kill black people the way they do, or the way they have been, and get away with it. You know, out of every 10 blacks that they shoot, 9 of them might get away with it, but I'm sure we're going to get at least one prosecution out of the whole thing. I'm not going to go deep into what the police are doing. I'm just going to say about Athena Jefferson's police shooter is now going to trial. San Francisco's quarterback, he broke his foot last Sunday. So now I'm wondering how they're going to do. The domestic terror rate. People are getting killed in Walmart nowadays. Walmart employees killing Walmart employees. People sabotage the substation in North Carolina. What is going on here in America? People are doing everything. We got to stop trusting everyone, though. I mean, you trust people to come to your church because the doors are open, but do you put somebody at the door to watch all these people together? Because somebody can just get a wild hair up their ass, come into your church and shoot everybody. They can come into your meeting because, see, black people are trusting too much. Too much. We don't pay attention to what's really going on in America. All these congregations, all this partying we doing, going to the club, going to concerts, going to big time restaurants, sitting up in the midst of hundreds of people and not being concerned about what may or may not happen. Look at the United States of America today. We're having so many group shootings everywhere. You need to be careful. You definitely need to be careful, and more especially when you think COVID is gone, it's going to be back up on your ass and everybody going to be catching it. So I commend you who still wear your mask when you're out in public. If you're going in the post office, you better put your mask on because something wrong with the circulation system in there anyway. How come it's always hot and musty in the post office? Damn, that's something. You think that's a government facility, but they got so many things going screwed up in there, you hate to go in there. You'd probably rather go to UPS or FedEx rather than to go to the damn post office because this environment is so damn dull and nasty. It just feels filthy in the post office. I don't want to go to the post office. I'd rather go to FedEx. That's just me. We got to stop trusting everyone, though, people. You remember in South Carolina where this white boy came into these black folks, this African Episcopal church, and shot 9 black people, some of the mothers of the church, after they got through worshiping and praying with him. He shot them. And that's the same guy they took to Burger King. Yes, it is. You know, we look at how the British took advantage of the Cherokee Indians, the Mexicans, the white folks, everybody here in America. Times got to change. We got to stop treating people like we're treating people nowadays. Because somehow it just get old that you always going to end up being the one to suffer. You can't always be the one to suffer. What will happen if a civil war broke out right now? You know, I know a lot of people have got guns. A lot of people have got brand new guns. They ain't never been to the range to shoot them. But that's just the way it is. We can't keep punishing our own oppressions. We've integrated everything. Since Martin Luther King promoted integration of our public schools, when that happened, it was almost like, to me, the white folk got an aha moment. That aha moment said, aha, now we can let them destroy themselves by losing their identity, trying to gain our identity. And that's exactly what happened. We lost our own identity trying to gain theirs. And we did. We learned how to live like the white man. We learned how to drive cars like the white man. We learned how to buy real estate like the white man. We learned how to drink coffee on an 8-hour shift job like the white man. And the more we can be like the white man, the better off we feel about how our family is doing. But that's not reality. Because the moment the shit hit the fan, we'll be right back at January 6th, and you'll be right back down the road on that N-word category. That's how it ended up working. You're back where you started. Too much. Well, it's too much for us to lose for a black man not to thrive right now. We can't afford to keep losing like this. And I mean, no matter what we do, we're losing. Look at what happened at Donald Trump's dinner with Kanye West. He brought Nick Fuentes there with him, who's a known white nationalist. And they sit down and had dinner and had a good old time. But our former president act like he didn't know. Oh, I didn't know he was like that. Bullshit. You sitting down there at the table with him. I'm absolutely sure that conversation came up. I'm positive. But who are we? We ain't nobody. We hear what they say. We see what they talk about, but we don't know whether it's coming or going because we too busy moonwalking. We still moonwalking on down the line. A little history about the St. Louis Arch. As you know, that arch is almost 60 years old. It's 57 years old this year. It was built in 1947. Well, it was sanctioned to be built in 1947. And in order for them to build the arch, they had to take land from the black people, from the black communities. See, they find ways to get black people out of their city. So they took the land from black people to build the St. Louis Arch. They had to displace more than 20,000 residents, 20,000 black residents. That's what they did. They moved 20,000 black people out of there just so they can build that arch. Not only did they do that, let's go to Central Park. That used to be a black thriving community. New York moved black people twice. They moved them out of Central Park, made it Central Park so the white people have somewhere to walk their dog, and the black people needed to get replaced. So the black people made them another township outside of New York. So then when the black people started thriving over there, they took that too. Moved them on out. That's what they keep doing. White women in America. Now, really, without black women, white women would have never been heard. White women were heard because black women supported them in their mission to gain equal rights. But they supported them from the background because they could not be upfront with those white women. The rail strike, Congress averted a rail strike by giving them everything that they wanted, but they still didn't get really what they wanted. All they want is 7 days of sick days. That's all they want. They probably could have took a lot of different things and not taken the 7 days, but they didn't take anything. They signed an agreement, but they're still pending on those 7 days. The rail workers want 7 days of convalescent time, not in a row, just incidentally. You know, some of us are so disheartened about being Black. And, you know, I don't use people of color because there's too many of us to say something about people of color. So I just use Black. We wanna take these creams and these potions that we get from these Oriental stores and everywhere else so we can whiten our skin. We want to look a little more presentable by whitening our skin because we've been brainwashed to think that because our skin is not white, we're not pure. We're the purest they come. Everybody know that winter is just around the corner. And I hope that you're preparing for winter right now. Because if you don't have a fireplace, you need to get a stockpile of wood. If you don't have an alternative support for heating, I suggest you get one. They say they did so much to the core to stop anything from happening with a power outage this winter. But we don't know that. If they could have did what they did in less than a few months, why couldn't they do it all year long, 20 years ago? Somebody lying, and somebody that took the money and ran. Because that's normally what happens. Somebody raised so much hell and they have so much crisis behind something, the government throws a whole bunch of money behind it, and somebody takes the money and run. They don't get shit done. We've dealt with so many different type of people in our day-to-day operation. One, I'm going to talk about a few leadership styles that I think is important that people know. The first one I want to talk about is the transactional leader. If you do a good job for me, then I'll do for you. I'll get you squared away. But first, you must do these transactions exactly like I want you to. And then when I see that you've done that, then I'm going to give you what you're looking for. I'm going to reward you. So that is the transactional leader. Now, we've ran into all kind of transactional leaders. Walmart's ran on a transactional leadership style. You know, you go in, you get what you want, you walk to the cash register, it's yours, but if you don't pay for it, it ain't. As long as you pay for it, you can claim it, but don't pay for it, it ain't yours. So my point is, you have to be able to look at more than just one way to be a leader. The transactional leader is for certain give and take situations where it may be necessary. But it ain't always necessary to be a transactional leader. You could be a transformative leader. A transformative leader is one who presents to you the scenario of what may need to change. And when they present it to you of what may need to change, it gives it to you and say, hey, okay, this is what I'm asking. You guys go ahead and get it done, and you let me know how it came out. So you motivated the people to go ahead and do it on their own without you constantly supervising them. So it's the difference between transactional and transformational leadership. Now, if you really want to know the one that gets shit done without any problem whatsoever, that's that authoritarian. That authoritarian don't see left, he don't see right, she don't see up, she don't see down. She only see what she wants to accomplish, or he only see what he wants to accomplish, and by any means necessary will he get that accomplished by using his authoritarian type of style. In many situations, some people just can't be led though. I mean, you try to get some people to understand that they can be a leader here, they can be a super trooper here, they can take this and take that and make differences in it all the way around it. But many people don't do that. They don't want to do it. They still moonwalking. They still are moonwalking. Oath keepers from the January 6th committee been sentenced, and they're looking at another one. They're on trial for seditious conspiracy. That ain't been enacted since the 1800s. That's the last time they found somebody guilty for seditious conspiracy. Proud Boys are up next. They just got through with the Oath Keepers. Now they're going to start in on the Proud Boys and prosecuting them too. In Raleigh, North Carolina, you know about the 15-year-old who shot 5 people in his neighborhood. And in world news today, there are 38 million people with HIV and AIDS. And they're coming out with a new vaccine for those diseases right now. In Iran, why are they still fussing about these women showing their hair? But you go right next door to the next country or over here to America, people got long hair everywhere. People in India are selling their hair to America. As a black man, there's certain things we have to understand. We can't buy our way into our friendships. We can't buy our way into our love relationships. We can't buy our way into our jobs. We have to be black sooner or later. And at that point, when you do decide that you can stand up in America and go out in public and say, hey, I'm black and I'm proud, and there's nothing that nobody can do about it, then you're ready for another level. You move to another level. But right now, many black people don't want people to hear them say that they're black and that they are proud. They don't want to say that anymore. And that's why we have such issues with our people today, because our people are not ready. And in order for us to get ready, we're going to have to wake up. We're going to have to wake up. We're going to have to wake up and get with our programs. We're going to have to learn our history. For sure, if we don't learn our history, we ain't never going to see our future. And we're going to continue to run like a rat in a coffee can around in circles and not get anywhere. We're going to keep producing these non-substantiated organizations that ain't about a hill of beans. We ain't going to get nowhere creating new organizations all the time when we should be putting some support behind the organizations that already exist. And in order to do that, you got to commit somewhere. And if you don't want to commit, then you, so be it. Go on about your business, do what you do. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Military City, USA, bringing you the news from a black perspective. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. We come to you on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and again on Sundays at 3:30 p.m. broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and whatever else is out there. We're trying to advertise on it. So go to my YouTube page, subscribe to the Black News Network. That way you'll get notifications whenever we're online. You know, we've reached 2,200 people, but I would love to see us reach 3,000 people by the end of the day, or the end of the week, or the end of the month, or the end of the year. Don't matter. But in order for me to reach that with you, you have to sign up as a subscriber. No matter who you are, you're welcome here. You know, I talk good about white people. I talk good about black people. I talk bad about white people. And I talk bad about black people. So because I'm black, does that not give me the right to say what I want to say in a free speech country? I think it does. So with that, this is the Black News Network. I'm going to show you some clips I took all over the country, and I would love to see you go visit some of these places, and maybe you'll see what I mean.